We're back on because we're rocking and rolling. See, we were rocking and rolling before the electric guitar. Oh yeah, I told you all. Screen was gonna start acting like a gremlin. So here we go. Yeah, we were rocking and rolling before the electric guitar. We were rocking and rolling before that boat that nobody likes to talk about. We were rocking and rolling already on boats because we were casting nets and traveling, visiting. We're rocking and rolling because we're doing a simultaneous live broadcast. And we're going to build on that. We're going to get into some more channels eventually. Inshallah, Adon willing. At the moment, we have at least two channels going. We got this boat afloat. And we get together at 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. to talk about entrepreneurship and service in your community. We're in the midst of a series called Origins. Yes, people, it's time to take the train to an elevated experience. We've covered 5 special interest groups. Eyesight Studio, Mafia Story Publications, Coal Before Diamonds Productions, SOC, Servants of Christ, Consulting Edge. So now it's time to go on into the next step and the next group so that we can complete this list and we can start actually talking about the different organic marketing strategies that each of those groups can represent. Because anything that I'm showing you with those groups is also something. Shalom Akati Deborah. Anything I'm showing you with these groups that I'm highlighting is also opportunities that you can apply with your own sole proprietorship. Or even if you don't have a business yourself, there may be a community organization out there that you'd like to help, whether it's your physical labor or you want to let other people know about it, right? That's marketing, that's promotion. If you go to a neighbor and say, hey, how you doing today? I'd like to let you know about blah, blah, blah. Now, they don't have to pay you. However, that's promotion, right? The people you're talking about, it's still promotion. Looking good. Did I? Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate the compliment. Thank you. What was your name again? Because it just blipped across the screen. I like to give shout outs. Appreciate you joining us in YouTube land. Summer vibes. Summer breeze makes me feel fine. Toxic YT. Yo, how are you? Not to just echo you. Shalom Barak. Things are great. Things are great. Peace and blessings to you. Yeah. So give me a moment to get some music playing, and then I'm going to go through the email list so we can decide who we're going to talk about today. Because today's topic is, what were you doing? What are you doing? And what will you be doing at 16? We're going to start with a soundtrack of my life when I was 16 years old. All right. And then from there, I'm going to go into what I was doing. Around what time was that? I wouldn't say it was 16 years later. I would say that I was walking under a shem, a name, an authority that is forever 16 years old. Remember, I told you all, eventually I'm going to tell you a story about why I am PP. Some say we're the sons of a prophet. Some say we're the sons of a preacher. But most of all, we need the funk. Got to have the funk. We are the sons of the I am PP. y'all know about it in a little while, though. Go ahead and cue up some music. I think I may have gone through about 2 cups of coffee today, and I'm not through. Time for that next one, right? Cocoa juice. Wired Owl in the building. I would have normally had it already queued up, but now y'all know better than that with me. I actually haven't touched the laptop since yesterday when we were out visiting the hospital lobby. Um, I never went into description, but I'll let you know. I was interrupted in the middle of our broadcast when they were asking the questions. That was two hospital security guards. And I didn't turn the camera to them or anything like that because they pretty much already felt threatened by my presence. And all I was doing was I was sitting there, I had a backpack on the table, and I had my phone and tablet leaned up against the backpack, you know, and there were two scooters parked beside me. You know those the electric scooters that you can rent and get around town. Well, these aren't those. They're your own personal models, right? And my bro, he has one, and he let me use another that we are borrowing from a friend because the hospital is about I don't know maybe 3 or 4 miles away, and we're talking about a very hilly territory. We don't mind walking. However, uh, bro was already dealing with shakes and shivers and fevers and nasal congestion and everything else. So why would we partake in a probably a 2 hour hike when it was all said and done? You know, I could actually hike 6 miles in 2 hours. This would have taken 2 hours because of the pace that we would have to take for 3 miles. So yeah, we had two scooters. He was taking care of being registered and going through diagnostics, and I was in a separate waiting room because the waiting room for all the patients, there's TV on and people talking and everything else. So I went to a separate one, which was actually more wide open, and I was secluded. There was nobody else around, you know, and I had everything out open and displayed, so it wasn't like I was off in a corner doing something conspicuous. So when they walked up, oh, what are you doing? That's why you saw the smile on my face, and it's uh, mighty funny. In the middle of me talking about, yes, you do have freedom of speech, however, you are limited when you are using your neighbor's phone to call a loved one. That's why I said, I hope you're picking up what I'm putting down. Because as long as we're using borrowed signals, we cannot expect to speak freely. Me be free and you be you. Leave me alone to do what I must do. Yahava, Ahava, Ahava, Ahava. So yeah, then after we play some music from what I was doing when I was in the manifestation of Forever 16, I'm gonna play something for you all for what I was doing in 2016. Today is 2020 Vision Day. No, I didn't announce it somewhere. No, this is one of the hashtags that I use. Hashtag 2020 VISION 2020 Vision. There's a comedian named Tommy Davidson. And he was joking about how people sing the national anthem. Oh, say, can you see? Can you see it? Are you looking? Do you got 2020 vision? Hmm? Y'all don't go around telling nobody I can sing. I can't sing. Don't do it. All right. Alita Hughes is back. Shalom al Barak. What's up, Alita? How's my day? Oh, my day's been great. You walked into the most excellent party of the day. Glad you're here. Today we're going to be talking about what were you doing when you were 16? What were you doing when you felt that forever vibe of 16? And then what were you doing in 2016? But first, like I said, shout out to Shock G, Humpty Hump, and shout out to Tupac. They shared an album together. What you doing? All right, so here we go. Who in this room knows about Digital Underground? Yes, my people, it is time to take the train. Everybody wanted to tell you about the Underground Railroad train system. Did y'all know that there was a I Can Walk to Freedom system? All you had to do was walk the same way that you see the sun setting. There's a phrase, go west, young man. See, sometimes they had to mutter it under their breath because if you went in a southerly direction while going west, you'll find yourself in freedom territory. Pardon me, y'all. My screen decided I want to act funny again over here in TikTok land. See if we can get it right. Because we're going to keep on rocking and rolling. All right, here we go. Are we okay? Everybody all right? Rocking and rolling. Let's get some hearts in the building. I want to make sure everything's all right before we get going, before we take off. Says we got 2 people in the room over there. Got 3 people over here in YouTube land. 1 heart, 2 heart, 3, maybe 4. 1 heart's better than 0. We ain't buying them at the store. You are retreating into introversion. Probably playing with Barbies. All right, well, we're not going to stall it out any longer. I'm going to get the music going. So, yeah. Y'all hear that? Oops. Awesome. I see you, brother. Hearts, hearts, hearts. Don't you worry your pretty little minds. I'm just over here mixing up my coffee. Dolio Flow, come take me home. Ain't no train that can take me home. Just until another one comes along. If the shuttle don't show, take me home. All right, Alita, you enjoy yourself. If the shuttle don't show, come take me home. If the shuttle don't show, come take me home. Ah. All right, we're gonna pause for the cause just for a moment. Check out this list of emails. Nam De Hoon, 3P Roge, and there's mine I told you about, tterrence074 at gmail.com. Highest Tight Studio. Then I got my own admin email. Not even gonna bother to tell you that one. I had another one I started way back when I was 39, Highest Heights. Ground Floor Intellect. There's another one for teachers of Tanzania. I can't tell you the name on that one. There's one for Kahalet concerning everything with SOC. Mafia Soy Publications. DJ Microwave 5000 watts. Good Food Bins. Coal Before Diamond Productions. Now, why would I have several for Highest Heights itself? Because I haven't started one for Consulting Edge. It's not that Consulting Edge is pro bono. It's just not. I don't go out shoving in people's throats, hey, I'm a consultant for hire. Because then my phone would be off the hook all the time. How much do you charge? What do you consult about? You see, I'm not a full fledged, full time consultant. I'm a producer. I make music, I make images, videos, and then I publish them. So I can consult about that aspect. However, I'm also studied in biology and sociology and psychology, history. And so I can consult about life decisions as well. And so the idea is instead of me just jumping up and down and throwing it in people's faces all the time, I just make myself available. And most people don't leave their phone number out there. Mine is out there. And those who need to reach me, they can at any time. I have several emails, as you just heard, and those are available and out there as well. I even have a website you can go to. It's on WordPress. There's another website on Wix. I just don't use it that often. And if you were to type in hashtag highest height studio or hashtag 3PROJH or hashtag Mafia Soy Publications, and also even hashtag consulting edge, it's going to take you right back to those places. Because everything that I share on Facebook, Twitter, and everything else, TikTok, it's also booming out of my web page. And to be honest with you, to be frank about it, that's the last place that it goes to because I'm already uploading it directly from my device. Nomad Studio, on the move, nowhere permanent, because this whole place, the earth, is my footstool. I rest my feet upon the earth. I jump up in the air and I gotta come right back down to it. So everywhere I tread, I'm free to move around. Heaven is his throne. And since I inherit, I get access to that throne too. So, yes, if you look up the hashtags that I mentioned, it will take you back to not only the places where I post up things, it will also take you back to what some people would call home base or headquarters, your web page. So, it'll take you back to my WordPress page where I do send out blogs. What it won't tell you is my activities in Web3. The other day we were discussing Web3, and then when I went back to review my videos for the live session on both YT and TikTok, TT, it was mysteriously buffered out as if someone were trying to smooth out some wrinkles in someone's brain. Now, why would they not want people to know about Web3, let alone that I could tell them? And it makes you wonder. So that's going to be something we're going to be talking about anyway. There's actually two different, there are actually two different special interest groups that we will be discussing concerning cryptocurrency and navigating Web3 because there's crypto analytics and then there's learning about investing in cryptocurrency. Why is that important? Because if you have your own coin and someone wants to pay you for your services and they use a certain currency, you can actually exchange it. No matter if it's a dollar, if it's a franc, if it's a dinar, or if it's Bitcoin, it can be exchanged, especially if you already have your own working coin. Because then they can actually send it directly to you and you have the option of what you want to do with it. They also can invest in you. Do you want to go to the bank and apply for an LLC and pay for it? Or would you rather know how to develop a smart contract? That way, every time someone does an exchange with you in an agreement, you can make a solid bond on it, and then it's already out there in the world. You know, businesses have to do an annual report. Now they don't have to tell you all extractions of business and show you each receipt. However, it does help if their books are open like that. Blockchain on Web3, it is open like that. Let's say you have developed a great business relationship with someone and you all are moving along the block just fine. Every time you exchange data, information with each other, the block moves again, right? And they decide they want to tell somebody about your business or your service. You can open up a new smart contract agreement with this new entity. And now that they know that you exist, they can go back and invest in the block that started. They can invest in you and your coin. Then they can also invest in each one of those posts that you've made talking about that special interest group that you don't own. However, you want to help them get promoted. Your special interest group wants to do a benefit. So you take 10 pictures of things that would illustrate what this benefit is about. And you offer this series of pictures for everyone who invest in these pictures. They're going to help buy the materials needed. They're going to help make sure that everything is set up. You go to certain sites and they say, yeah, you could do a GoFundMe for $10,000. What happens if you don't reach the goal of $10,000? Does everybody get their contribution right back to them? Do you have to pay a penalty for not making it? Because 100% of what is generated goes straight to the special interest group. I'm just wondering. I'd like to know. Shalom, shalom. Shalom, Barak. I'm just wondering because if you start up a smart contract, not only do you track the movements of what's going on with the information, it also tells you on a ticker how much is being gained, how far away you are from the goal. You stipulate inside of this smart contract what's called the white pages. That would be the same thing as when we're talking about business proposals. You outline exactly what you plan to do within this project. I need $10,000 for this. Now, out of that $10,000, we're going to put aside $1,000 because, yeah, really, I only need 1,000. I mean, I only need 9,000. This $1,000, why are we putting that to the side? Because everybody who invests in this, we're going to give you a fraction of this $1,000 at the end. We're going to evenly disperse it. We're not going to give it, well, this person gave 1,000 and this person gave $1, so this one should get more. No, we're going to evenly disperse that 1,000 as a reward for everybody actually making the goal. Okay, so what happens if we don't make it to 10,000? What if we only make it to 5,000? Okay, well then we will evenly disperse $500 to everyone who contributed, and then we will restart it. We will go out and get the materials that we need, and we will post up certified pictures and everything else and their products in use, so you will have your receipts seeing that we did appropriate the funds. That's called a smart contract with white papers. Now, what did I just describe to you? An NFT, a non fungible token. It's not just some goofy looking picture. A picture can be an NFT, a wave sound. I'm thinking over here in computer world, WAV. That's a file format, a sound file. can be an NFT. When you download MP3s, an MP3 is like a WAV file, except for it doesn't have so much information in it. It's a smaller file. It does the same thing, you know. It's kind of like what they would say as far as listening to a tape compared to listening to a CD. They say there's better sound coming from that CD. So it depends on the CD because some manufacturers will give you an MP3 file instead of a WAV file, which actually holds all of the data for all of the instruments that were used and all of the different changes and crescendos of the vocals. All of it's going to be dynamic. That MP3 file is going to be smaller because it's compressed. Your white pages are going to tell you all the information, not just a condensed paragraph. Friendly dose of sunshine. Shalom Barak. So, what I'm explaining to you is, let's say you want to offer a business or a service and you don't necessarily want to use a centralized banking system. You can have a legitimate process for your sole proprietorship that does exchange in cash, fiat, banking through the US dollar, or you can also use other modes of currency and exchange it in your own use. If you need to pay for something in US dollars, you will have an electric wallet. The particular network that I use in Web3, they have their own coin, the DSO coin, because it's the desocialized network, the social world. So it's the DSO coin, DESO. And when you start your own profile, then you are awarded your own coin according to your profile name. And you're also given an e wallet because you're going to have an address. They assign you an address. You have to sign in and out with an actual passkey, somewhere anywhere from 12 to 16 words, only for you. When do we start to see the mass adaptation? We don't need to see the mass adaptation. What we're going to do is walk away because that's what I started this off with. People talk about the Underground Railroad, but we didn't have to sneak and hide in the dark. You could just follow the sun, walk west, go west, and then a little bit to the south, and you walk into emancipated land. Actually, it wasn't even emancipated because it had already been free. It was already a territory. As much as they try to tell us that we should not embrace our so-called neighbors, La Familia, they are our family. Because where I come from, it's one family. I came from three major heads. What's there to adapt to? I'm saying pick back up what we were already doing. Now, how is that? Well, you see, we already had a trading system that we were doing. That's no different. You know, people still value turquoise. They've ran off and tried to give it another value. They still treasure turquoise. They still treasure certain types of sand. Yeah, we're surrounded by sand. I'm gonna give you all a Shaolin secret. There's a certain sand silicate they're looking for. There's actually two different ones, and both of them help build structure. One of them, surprisingly, you wouldn't think to use for building structure, and that's the one that I'm considering working with. You see, we're not worried about them adapting. We're not even worried about ourselves adapting. What we have to do is realize that for all the times that some stuff got buried out in the dirt and nobody remembers where it is and nobody can find a treasure map and so on, well, all that stuff was found in the dirt to begin with for all the mining and everything else. An old man once told me the most valuable thing you can find on this earth is real estate because there's only so much of it. It's a finite amount. So it's about the land grab. What you do with the land. You own all resources to it. What is above in the air, what you're standing on, and whatever is below your feet. You get access to that through an allodial title. See, these are real things. It's not just something that's on a digital grid. There are real means and tangible means that we have to do as well as what is unseen. It's not so much about waiting to find out who's going to get in line. It's about going on and doing it. It's having that concept of time. Was it the past? Was it now? Or was it later? No, we're just going to take care of it. Player. You see, I'm not on the field running up and down. I'm the one that throws the flags. Mama told me and my sons, y'all some zebras. You dig? She told me because of how I got married. Told my son because sometimes he acted like and he came out hairy. Selah. It's not about adapting because it's already in use. I'm telling you about something I have because anything that I do, I also do for the community. So yes, 3P Roche has a coin, and SOC has a coin, a whole separate coin. And I told you about the email addresses because each one of those special interest groups is just waiting in line for me to go ahead and assign them their own coin as well so that we can engage in smart contracts. And then the day will come where man will not be able to exchange currency and they will not be able to buy from each other. No, we won't be using the markets of Caesar. We'll go back before there was an exchange of a piece of metal with somebody's face on it. It'll be an exchange of I do this in exchange for you do that. And when I have surplus of what I have and all the exchanges have been made, I already know there's people out here who need it over here, people who need it over there. Matter of fact, that's broken off before I start talking with anybody about how much I have and what you have and what I need. It's already factored there. The adaptation, the adaptation, the adoption, the grafting that everybody keeps talking about, it needs to stop being so hazy. People could keep putting a smoke screen on things when it can be very simple. Why is it that 100 people go line up for a job? You go look up in the job listing. Oh, so and so hiring. Got 100 people show up. It specifically says 10 positions available. 100 people show up. Now the process is going to take about 2-3 weeks, so they can go through all of the applications because still only 10 people going to be hired. 90 people unemployed. Y'all see where that's going. And then you say, okay, what do you know how to do? I can do blah, blah, blah. Okay. Go out into the world and tell the world that you know how to do that, and you will be responsible enough that every time somebody calls you to go and do that, you're going to go out and do it. If not immediately, you're going to sign an appointment for it, and you're going to make sure that it is covered to the best of your ability. You ready to go do that? Man, I don't know about all that. Why? Well, I can't guarantee that all the time, really. But you expect for me to guarantee that you show up for these particular hours, and I'm going to pay you just because you were here for that time? You gonna guarantee me that when you show up, you're gonna give me the best of your ability every time? Oh yeah, 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 yeah. No, I don't want word service because I'm gonna see it over time. I'm gonna expect you to be here for a certain amount of hours. You see, there was someone who owned a field and it needed to be harvested, and so he said, "I'm gonna offer work from sun up to sundown, and this will be the rate." A whole bunch of people showed up. Sun up, they got to work. We're gonna knock this out. Took a break around lunchtime. It's hot. Some more people showed up. Yeah, y'all want to work? I'm paying X amount. Hey man, hold on. That's what he said that he was gonna pay when we started up before sunrise. He telling them the same thing. Mm-hmm. That's how much you get paid. I need this field cleaned. Get back to work, everybody else. Now, if you lay off and you decide you want to go home, you're not gonna get paid. Wait, we gotta work to the end of the day. Yes, yeah, because I got this field that needs to be cleared. But them folk just got here in half of the program. I don't care. Do you want to get paid? Because if you stay to the end of the day, you get paid. That ain't fair. I mean, you can go home and not be paid. That's on you. Meanwhile, hey, let's tend to this. Midday goes by. We made it to another side of the day. Most folk ready to go home, but it's not done. We got to work on it through the night and clear this out. Some more people show up during break time. Y'all want to work? Get on out there. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. How much we get paid? X amount. Man, hold on. That's what he told us at lunchtime. Man, that's what he told us when we first showed up. But if you don't like it, you can go back home. That's the agreement. At the end of it all, do you think that everybody that showed up actually was there to get paid? I'll tell you the ones who got paid. They showed up to get paid. They didn't show up to stand around and ride the clock. Because if you weren't clearing that field, you were going home. Can't pay you for standing around. There's a field that needs to be cleaned. Well, that's not fair. We all worked longer than the others and blah, blah, blah. Do you really think I expect you to work just as hard from sun up to about evening time? That's why I brought in some more people. Well, how about these ones that came in fresh? How come they getting paid? They're doing the work that you were not able to do. I'm not saying you can't. I'm saying they're doing some work that you weren't able to do. They're not going and backtracking something you didn't do. They're doing things that you weren't able to. So, yes, everybody gets paid the same amount. The place is cleared, and now let's celebrate. It's all about value. The thief is not going to worry about stealing a television if everybody's got a television. It's not worth anything anymore. The thief of your time is not going to be around if everybody's in the same exertion because it's the fruit of the exertion, especially when it's a combined effort. Bubble High Mountains. Shalom Barak. Keep seeing these videos about sponges and soap and cleansing agent, powdered cleansing agent getting squished out in the sink. Bubble High Mountains, y'all. I hear Bubble High Mountains knows someone who can even etch certain names and things like that into your product. Hmm. I know about frets on guitars. Not going to announce your whole name there. Shalom Barak to you. You see, we're in office space right now, and get to talking on that level, and might get distracted from standing on business. Might play the guitar a little bit later on and work the frets. You see, toca la guitarra. I play guitar. Meanwhile, what's all that got to do with everything that was just listed off? Well, like I said, conspicuously, Consulting Edge wasn't on that email list. However, that's exactly what Consulting Edge takes care of. What's your walk of life? What is it that you do? All right, well, let's find a way to make sure that people are contributing to you financially, emotionally, or physically, whatever the case may be. What are your needs? What are your high points? Someone contacts me, that's what I'm listening for. What are your needs? How can I immediately be of service? Where I'm from, that spells LOVE. Oh, we ain't talking spells, that's magic. My almighty guardian invented creation. Oh, you into magic? Nope. Tell you what though, there were two angels who were told, do not divulge this to the humans because they're going to take it and misuse it. And the gifts that the angels had was technology. Technology is a burning stick. Lightning struck a tree. The tree branch fell. The tree branch was on fire. It caught onto some grass. Now there's a larger fire. A person happens to be walking by and feels the heat, also sees the imminent danger. Heat is a tool. Heat is a threat. So what's magic? Magic is using something in an influential manner for your own personal gain. Kind of like usury. How is it that I loan you $100 and then if you don't come back on time, you owe me $150? No, man, you loan me $100. What I'm supposed to do is give you something of equivalent value. What are you doing? What are you doing? You see, it's not about adaptation or adoption or grafting. It's about getting back to our origins. Because there's principalities to this. Think it's a joke? What we were already doing before someone came along and said, we're going to do this system now because I said so. Well, I don't think so. I would rather be over here and fast for 30 days and study and worship, eat once after the sun goes down, than comply to what you're talking about doing. And if necessary, then I'm going to start the process again for another 30 days. And then I'm also going to hike away from what you're talking about because I need to get asunder. Who's willing to walk away instead of complaining their day away? It's not about adaptation, it's about standing up and doing something. David went into battle against Goliath with 3 to 5 smooth stones. What's your excuse? David fasted. David prayed. David got up and moved himself across that field that day. What's your excuse? We're giving heartbeat props. At the 50-minute mark, not quite an hour in, rocking and rolling, y'all. Dr. Tamar, Shalom Abarak, Abu Washina, Naomi, Shalom Abarak, Defaults Gush, what's up, Muckety Muck name? Shalom Abarak, Duman, Shalom Abarak, Yahaba Ahaba, Ahaba Ahaba. We're going to review this after it's over. Heartbeat drops. what we're given. Got the plan in his hand. Got the plan in his hand. Harvey Cross. Pause for the cause. Because, like I said, we're going to do some review. First off, when I'm broadcasting, it is adult time. Not here to tend to your children. So, any child who has their ears open and they hear what I'm doing and what I'm talking about, it's because they already know they're walking into a mature situation. I don't always play blue words and colorful phrases. However, there is a time and a place for everything. Live in peace, Shock G. Live in peace, Tupac. That's before Machiavelli. That's before I want to be your N-I-G-G-A. No, this was never ignorant, getting goals accomplished. See, that's the vibe I'm on. In every Jeep and every car, brother, stomp this. I'm never ignorant, getting goals accomplished. The Underground Railroad on and up rise. It's time for truth to get told, heard enough lies. This party is about what were you doing when you were 16 years old? What were you doing when you felt 16 eternal? And then what were you doing in 2016? You all just got an ear example of where my mind was when I was 16 years old. By the way, I never did mention whose origin story we're telling today. There's a special group called Ground Floor Intellect. Because when you walk into the ground floor of Highest Heights Studio, you have to be prepared to not deal with the intellect and the vibration. You have to be prepared to add on because it's going to be there, whether you're there or not. And we don't need a fly on the wall. We don't need somebody just leaning on the wall. I used to do that at the club. I walk in the club and I lean on the wall. I'm going to lean on that wall till I get ready to go home. I'm not a dancer. Y'all get out there and start doing the electric slide. I'm going to get right in the middle and I'll be going along with you. Oh, and then I'm going to stop and start doing whatever I want to. And then I might go on and get back with you all. What's all that got to do with anything? Ground floor intellect is those times where you see a picture and it makes you have to scratch your head and think, what was this person really saying in this picture? Ground floor intellect is what they call in the meme culture irony, parody, because it is a way to express information without just saying, okay, here, students, write this down, repeat after me. It's a way for you to use your own knowledge and your wisdom and your consciousness to come and arrive to a conclusion that has a little intellect behind it. If I show you a picture of an elephant standing on a coffee table, what phrase does that make you think about? Elephant in the room. If you see an elephant standing in a chicken coop, the elephant is in the place where the chickens come home to roost. What a concept. Think of all the things that can come out of just that image. An elephant standing in the middle of a chicken coop. Mm. Now we got the elephant in the room thing. Now hold on, we can dig a little deeper because some people make an ass out of themselves and others are pachyderms. We ain't even brought the mule into the situation yet. Y'all see where I'm going? Ground floor intellect, special interest group. Gotta start on the ground floor. Well, if you can't get along with the knowledge that has been gained and the wisdom that is applied in a conscientious effort, you might have some issues with ground floor intellect because our system goes like this. You learn knowledge, wisdom, and conscientiousness, and then you teach knowledge, wisdom, and conscientiousness. Because that's origins. That's how we started. That's where each one, teach one comes from. Each one, reach one. And it's easy to multiply because now that you got one and one, two people doing the same thing, if they're doing it under the shim of Yahweh Elohim, now we've got a blessed thing. Adapt what? When I was 16 years old, someone handed me the autobiography of Malcolm X, written by Alex Haley. I'm just omitting the name of the person right now because that's y'all business. Otherwise, I'll let you know. The battery saver on YouTube is about to engage. So hold on a minute while I change out the charging. Oh, that's right. It's not plugged. You all give me a moment. So as I was saying, to get a copy of the autobiography of Malcolm X when I'm 16 years old. I'm reading how he came across Nation of Islam and all of the activities that he partook in with the Nation of Islam. That includes his trip over to the East. That includes him changing his name from Malcolm X to Malik El Haj Shabazz. That includes the reason why his name, his Shem, was changed. That includes finding out once he returned back home and was preparing to go and address the United Nations, some people decided it wasn't fit for him to live anymore. Now, whether the allegations are correct or not, there were certain individuals and groups who were under scrutiny. Those individuals who are under scrutiny are people that I learned I shouldn't trust. If they were willing to martyr someone who was vigilantly trying to do positive activities after turning their life around. So first I learned about Malcolm X and Malik El Haj Shabazz on 16. That summer my family moved from one city across the river to the other city, new neighborhood. I go to a new school now. This all happened over that last little part of the spring semester. I'm in this new school and I'm meeting new people, and a certain person takes note of me from the garments that I wear because I wanted to go to Georgetown. And I was 17 in the 11th going on 12th grade. He said, "My brother, I want you to meet somebody," because he wore those same school garments. The brother he had introduced me to, his name is Adib. Adib gave me my first Quran. He said, "Do not open this unless you have your hands clean and your mind is clean and ready for study. Because some people read this out of skepticism. Some people will read this and they will come back confused. Other people read this for discernment. I see you need discernment. I give you this gift." He gave me a Quran. Tada, Troy. Tada. And Shalom Barak. I mean, I've seen you when you came into the room. Peace and blessings to you. The Quran he gave me had the Arabic in the right column on one page, and then the English in the left column on one page. And then underneath it, not only did it have descriptions of what was going on as footnotes, it also had information from a text that some people would call the Sahih Bukhari. The Sahih Bukhari is 9 books, 9 volumes. Imagine if you had 9 encyclopedia books worth of quotes and for instances of people explaining situations of when Prophet Muhammad sallallahu wasallam was out and about and someone may ask him about one of the revelations when he revealed something as a surah for the people. The Quran is broken down into these surah, these revelations, and there's over 100 of them. These surah are then broken down into 30 sections. The sections would be what you would call the chapters of the Quran as a whole book. The surah could be 7 lines long or 300 lines long. These lines are called ayat. Ayat would be like a verse. He started me out with the first surah of the Quran, Al-Fatiha. It's the mission statement. It is said that when we all return back to our Creator, each one of us will be asked, have you had the opportunity of hearing Al-Fatiha? Man, what's Al-Fatiha? Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahmanir-Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyaka na'budu wa iyaka nasta'in. Ihdina sirata al-mustaqim. Sirata alladhina an'amta alayhim. Ghayril maghdubi alayhim. Wala Dolin. Amin. It's a declaration and a mission statement. In the name of our Father, the most merciful and compassionate. ruler of all worlds and creation, the most merciful and compassionate. I ask you to guide my steps and make sure that I do not do the things of those who displeased you. I ask you to strengthen me. I ask you to forgive me of the times that I do walk away from the standard, the dean of life that you have set for me. I mean, every individual will be asked if they have heard this. Well, I don't know if I've heard it in Arabic like that. Them words sound kind of familiar. Well, there was a time when people asked our Messiah, how are we supposed to pray? What should we say? And they were told, remind yourself that it's all about thy kingdom come. It's all about Yahweh Elohim's will. It's about listening to the guidance of Ravak HaKadesh. And it's about emulating the steps of Yahashua HaMashiach. You see, that's not something that you adapt. That is something that you are born into, and you do it because it is life. It's not a fad. It's not a trend. It's not a movement by the populace. No, it is the balanced system that was already set. It's what Adam was taught and told to instill it amongst the people. Instill, teach. If you got the gift to name the animals, then that means that you are telling them what their title and authority is, what they do, and that's everything about them. What they eat, what they drink, how do they procreate, everything about each animal. If you can do that about the wildlife on the planet Earth and everything that was going on with it, you pretty much can look at person to person, all the other individuals that are around you, assess what you have going on with you, and then tell the other people, hey, you're stepping out of order. Oh, tada, Adam. I will do better. It's real simple, people, because he was a regent, and regents are the king, or what we would call in Arabic a caliph, a representative. Not everybody holds that title the correct way. Not everybody runs the office the correct way. So when people get disillusioned, we're supposed to remember that's a representation. We've been told what's perfection, and we see what humans do. So every time one of us is born into this world, our task is to strive towards that perfection and not do the mistakes of those before us. And since we acknowledge that we are humans and mistakes can be made, we do our best to help everybody else out. Oh, we saw you stumbled over there. Well, come on, here, lean on my shoulder. We're gonna get past that stumbling block. Everybody come want to talk about the race. Did a door knocking ceremony with a lady and didn't get far because I didn't get a chance to talk to her father. She was too busy trying to ask me what we were supposed to do in a race. I said, if you and I were tied one leg together, then if one of us stumbled, the other's supposed to help the other up. We're going to still make it to the finish line. But what if it's me and I can't run? Well, then I'll untie that leg and I will carry you and we'll make it to the finish line. That's against the rules. What rules? We're supposed to get to the finish line. You talking about the how? Well, our legs will still be tied together. I'm carrying your legs, and it's my legs carrying us. It's gonna be all right. People getting stuck on what's this mean over here and trying to bury it where it doesn't mean to be. You ever heard the phrase think outside the box? How about there is no box? And I don't mean, oh, okay, we'll be what is it, deluded or delusional about it. No, I'm saying there most people are inside of the box. Most people are captured. When people tell me think outside of the box, I say there is no box because my mind is not captive. My soul is not captive. My physical body is not captive in a box. I'm too busy over here on this sphere. You understand? Ground floor intellect. Where is your brain meets? Are you suffering smooth brain syndrome? Do we need to work on that first when you walk through the door? Because when you walk through that front door, we're going to ask you, what do you do? Not what are you doing? We know what you're doing. You're here. So what do you do? What are you best at? And what do you do all the time? Because it may not be the same thing. Ground floor intellect. Now, who came up with this idea? You see, I'm a black-tailed hawk that's been hanging out with some red tails. There was a guy I met. He's a hockey fan. Had a Black Hawk jersey. Wore it with his chest stuck out. Hi there, what's your name? They call me Chicago Joe. Hi, Chicago Joe. They call me Pete. Yeah, I've heard about you, Pete. Good to meet you, Pete. Well, if it wasn't for the fact that you just told me your name is Chicago Joe, I'd be asking you for that jersey off your back. I'm not a fan of hockey, but I do like that particular bird, and I understand where it represents. Well, no, you can't have this one. It's mine. I'm not trying to get rid of it. Well, that's cool. I don't necessarily want to go and buy a brand new one, and you got it. Looks good on you. Pete, they tell me you're from Chicago. I was born there. And I can't say I've spent the majority of my life there. I've spent several phases, though. Yeah, I can tell. You don't sound like it. Joe was a traveler. It's not about going to find that Greyhound or Amtrak or anything like that. Joe could get out, and move something, be on those rails and off, and in 3 states within a day's travel time. And he wasn't the only one that I knew. I was amongst a crew of nomads. You ever heard of a band that could hop on a train and transport their equipment and show up at somebody's house ready to do a show? Because we rocking and rolling. We were rocking and rolling before the electronic guitar, and as a matter of fact, got the 6 string on my back. Y'all heard that note crack at the end, but you get the idea. Play it for keeps, because I might not make it back. Yeah, it ain't about being a cowboy. Most of my friends actually did not like Bon Jovi. All right. Travelers who were DIY, do it yourself. Matter of fact, when I joined up with this crew, it wasn't an initiation process or anything like that. However, it wasn't even a claim to fame kind of thing. It was just a enough respect kind of thing. I went traveling. Where you going, Pete? South America. Well, dang, Pete, you went and you come back. It's been just a little over a week. How far did you make it? South Texas. Ha ha ha. That's going Disney. And that's me. I was trying to make it over to Brownsville, but by the time I got down to Dallas, I made a wrong turn. Didn't even make it to Albuquerque. Why did Joe call TJ Pete? When I was 12, my mother speech pathology class. And part of her class was to spend time at a blind and deaf school. At the time, her initials were PP. Or, there we go, that's it, PP. She had to tell the children a story. That was part of her class. Be able to use sign as a second language and tell a story. She chose to tell the story of Peter Pan. And she had already introduced herself to the children as PP. And there are points in the story where people ask, "Who are you?" And I'm Peter Pan. So every time she would say, "I'm PP," because she did that instead of, going through the whole, let me see if I can do it, P-A-N. I think that's it. Might be off. It might be like N, one of those. But anyway, instead of spelling out P-A-N, instead of saying I'm Pan, she would just say I'm PP. And they would just giggle because from day one, she introduced herself as PP. So the kids were loving it. That's when I was 12. Now we're going to fast forward a little bit to when I was about 19 or 20. I run into this group of musicians, punk rockers, heavy metal players, skateboarders, hippies, yuppies, people who were just trying to hang out, oddballs. They asked me, "What's my name?" At 19 years old, I had spent some time being TJ the Joker, and I decided it was time for a life change. Because while I was being TJ the Joker, I had been told too many times that I had lost the face of the angel that I had been. It's one thing when you're bopping on down the street and certain people that you went to school with pull you to the side and say, you know, "See some darkness on you." Well, yeah, yeah. It's another when your grandma pull you to the side and say, "Your face has changed." So I'm like, one moment. What's going on, bro?
Oh, I was just gonna watch some photos. I was trying to interrupt you thing.
Oh, you're good.
Come here, baby.
Give me about 30, 45 minutes. I'll be done. All right.
That's cool. No rush.
Right on, bro. Oh, jig's up. Y'all know my secret location now. Don't tell anybody. All right, so decided I didn't want to be the Joker anymore. It's time for a change. Time to get back to me and what I was really supposed to be on. So I meet these punk rockers, these skaters. Yep, and it's about right on what I approximated for time. We're at the hour and a half mark, so I told my bro give us about another half hour, we'll be done. Anyhow, I've been turning over some ideas in my head, and it wasn't just that my grandma even told me that change had happened. It was something I was feeling, and there were certain things and activities that people were pulling me to go do, and I knew that if I went on through with it 100%, oh yeah, that particular angelic face was going to be gone. I knew it. I had to make an internal decision, and this at 19, and I had a Quran in my possession for 3 years, and I've been turning the pages of that Quran and reading it. And I had already had Bibles in my possession, and I still had a Bible that I was carrying around, reading and studying, and feeling that internal conflict. Because if I had kept down the road I was going, I would be the cause of widows and orphans. And I had to think back because Jacob had told me what I'm supposed to do. And then I thought to myself while I was young, I wanted to have hair like Samson. And then I even knew the story, so I knew it wasn't so much about the hair, but I wanted that strength that Samson had. Because I found out, no, he didn't look like some muscular strong man. Before Kahalet was telling the story to SOC, I learned that. No, he wasn't some gigantic muscular dude, which was why it was such a wonder that he was as strong as he was. Appearances can be deceiving. So, what is it about you? What makes you so strong? You cut off your hair now, what? And he was still strong because it was his faith and his pledge and his obedience. So I decided I have to put the Joker in retirement. They asked me what's my name. I said, I'm Peter Pan. Ha 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 ha. 2 weeks later, I go and spend some time in the neighborhood that where they live and where they do their thing. And this particular neighborhood is the same neighborhood that shares the blind and deaf school. There are two in this city. There's one by a college campus, and then there's another. They live by the other one, right? And it was the same exact campus where my mother had gone and taught the story of Peter Pan. Lo and behold, Pan returns to claim his place. Because if anybody knows the lore, there's a movie where I think Sally Duncan may have played Peter Pan. And then before that, there was Larry Hagman's mom, the guy that played JR in Dallas, played Peter Pan. JR's mom played Peter Pan, but look at how the actor Larry Hagman turned out and what he decided he wanted to do. I thought it was the funniest thing in the world, which is why I took the name. I like to make funnies. So yeah, Peter Pan. As Peter Pan, I spent some time with a brother named Dizzy, and you all have heard some stories about Dizzy. We made a few albums together, and I've been Peter Pan for over 25 years now because that started somewhere around 97, 28, 29 years. And no, I don't molest children. None of the people that are in my circle would allow any such activity. If we found out a person's doing that, they may not make it to the authorities. See, there's another part of the Peter Pan story that most people don't know about. To some, Peter Pan is the Grim Reaper, and he has a focus on those children who didn't make it or they did not go all the way to adulthood in life. That's the story of the lost children. Maybe they didn't make it all the way to heaven, so they got gathered up. In my walks as Peter Pan, I've met some individuals who come from some very broken families where you thought there was solidity, solidarity. No, where you thought was the best kind of foundation for someone to have to come out and be a productive individual. No, just because a house looks a certain way outside does not mean that's what's going on inside. Just because you see someone well kept on the exterior does not mean that they are not broken inside. Oh, I've met some people. These same people will get out on Sunday and feed the homeless because they went all week gathering up food from organic grocery stores and whatnot, and then they take it back, cook it up Saturday evening, going into Sunday, and then present it to people as a noon meal. They're getting paid some kind of grant for it. Well, that's what was going on. Things have changed now. There's been a different organization. However, it's the same people, same spirit behind it. Not going to name drop right now. I can wait till another time. Ground floor intellect. Peter Pan ran into some people who like to wear black and they have patches that show what bands they like or what type of uh, feelings they have concerning politics and socialism or sociology or the lack thereof. Hangs out with people who go and stand at the Capitol footsteps when someone is in the middle of a speech, and they do have their signs out saying, "We are anti what you're talking about." Now, the same people that I hang out with are not the same people who run amok and jump around doing flips and cartwheels and whatnot while wearing black and ski masks and painting crazy tags while running through places calling it a riot and a protest. No, not the same individuals. Not by far. You see, people like to take what you do and misappropriate it. They don't have to adapt to anything. They're trying to adapt to what I already do. And I ain't leaving to go anywhere. I was already here. Well, I gotta go. I'm ready to take out the trash. How about that? Forever 16. Salah. About to find some music. Gonna hear a moment of Mafia Soy. Buddha David. Shalom out the rock to you. Yahweh Hava. Barak Alafik. I still pray blessings and healings over you. Amin. As a matter of fact, Insha'Allah, Ya Allah. Yubarik alumah wa sahaba. Amin. In the name of our Father, by the will of our Father, may there be peace, blessings, and healing across the whole community and promise keepers who walk the divine path. Amin. The song I would really like to play for you all, it's gonna be so scratchy and muddy. I'll try to make sure it's a bit cleaned up. I remade a song called Crumble Jericho, and it actually sounds pretty good on the playback. I remastered it recently and released a video. Kind of want to play that song, and then there's some more from this album called Hot Mustard. I was gonna play a different album. It's called Birthday at the Joint. There's a place where there's a location, it's a neighborhood that Dizzy and I spent a lot of time in with the punk rockers and the musicians and the artists and whatnot. And there was an occasion where we were gonna do a show at a birthday, and I had composed some music, some instrumentals that we were gonna use, and we were practicing the songs. And my thing is, I don't always write down lyrics. If I write down the lyrics, then I do research mean for it to be delivered a certain kind of way, it has a certain message, all of that. However, there are times when I will do a freestyle, and I actually do mean for that to be the recording. I'm not going to necessarily commit it to memory. Said what I needed to say. Play it back and put it in your own ears if you want to know what it is. Don't ask me to uh, speak my lyrics upon command because that does not happen. Now, you play a song, I might actually pick up and actually start saying the words with you or with it because I've even played it enough to where it's in my own memory. No, I do not memorize a song and then try to go and record it. I'll write a song and record it in the next 5 minutes. Spend all your life trying to get the perfect album if that's the case. So, this might be just a little bit scratchy. I'm putting something on right now just to have something playing because I have to step away from the camera for one thing. Let me see what this sounds like in here. It's tolerable. I'll be right back. Crumble Jericho. Everything falls after the scarlet cord. All right. We're at the hour and 40-minute mark. Still got two people in the room over here. Supreme Junior. Shalom Barak to you. Teresa, 1965. Wavy Davy. Shalom Akarak. Said I'm a living man. I've got work to do. Gotta travel wide. When you walk into the ground floor of Highest Heights Studio, I want to know where you've been. What have you seen? I want to know if you're willing to walk around a place and then watch it crumble when you pick up a trumpet, when you pray for all of this evil to stop, for all of the injustices. Are you willing to put in the work and go ahead and do the work? Because we can talk a blue streak about what we gonna do. Where I'm from, they say talk is cheap. So I only talk long enough to let you know what the plan is. After that, it's 10 hut. That's 16 eternal. That's the idea behind this particular party is what were you doing when you were actually 16? What were you doing when you felt 16 eternal? And then what were you doing in 2016? In 2016, I released an album called Crystallized Mind. The second album that I have placed with, well, no, actually, it wasn't Crystallized Mind. It was End of the Brick Paved Road, my first album. Registered that. The actual album started in 1999, and the first song is not even on that album. It's not until later. One of the first songs that I wrote didn't come until this third album that I put out called Have Some Cake. There's a song called Destiny and Journey. I was sitting in the living room one day. My son was around 1 years old. He had one of those play school tape players with the recording button, and it had a little microphone sitting to the side. And I was listening to Jimi Hendrix. He was singing Voodoo Child and playing the guitar. And I'm listening to the cadence. Hmm. Well, standing on the corner of Destiny and Journey, learning legalese, so I won't need attorneys. Things are getting way too shy. It's down in Dirty South. No innovations coming out of players' mouths. Hmm. Time to take my crew on an Iliad. Reach out and touch the world. Expose the 10% affiliates. By now, I'm sure you guessed, we leave in continental U.S. and we won't stop until we blow up the stop. We won't stop until we blow up the spot in Bangladesh. It's a mystery how such a small crowd controls the currency, while the rest of us are with rats running on wheels in laboratories. You get the idea. Now, that's when I was like 23, 24. I have doubled that age since then because I will be seeing 49 in about 12 days. From way back then, just now getting a chance to put it out here for the world to hear. What's old to me is brand new. And even what I was talking about back in 2000 is relevant today. You see, that's called evergreen content nowadays because it's something that lasts. It's something that's always going to be something that people can feel. What kind of content are you sharing with other people that is evergreen, that is thought provoking, and will help us grow and improve? Organic marketing strategies. So 2016, I released an album. And it didn't have that song on it. It had a song called Peter Pan. They call him Peter Pan. Malik Terrence and a couple of other names, man. All I know is TJ is harder than calculus equations, Roche has no equivocations, and the chameleon avoids prostrations. One Rooms knows what a prostration is. There's a few ways to do prostrations. You can lay flat on the ground with your face on the ground and prostrate to someone in submission, or you can kneel in an orderly way and recite prayers or surah from the Quran as you are making your mission and pledge for the next moment in time in your life. I go by chameleon because I have a million names. I go by chameleon because, yes, I can do a lot of different styles. I have a lot of hats that I wear, so you might see me in any kind of shape or form. Um, BP. Scratch that. In order to play that, the frequencies won't act right. It's starting a real loud, high pitched frequency that's emitting. I don't want to drive you any more than I want to drive my own ears. So we'll save that one, but you get the idea. And that is actually a registered song. I want to share something with you all, and I've mentioned it before. I have a track out already that has 8 million views on it, and that's with low exposure. How many of your favorite artists are played in the penitentiary streaming system? How many of your favorite artists can release an album that's actually a concept for a complete short film or even a movie? The last time I've seen anyone do that was Michael Jackson Moonwalker. That's the idea that I'm trying to get you all to understand. When I release my albums and I release songs and I place videos up, it's because it's already showing you the storyline. So if you actually played the videos, it would show you a movie. It would give you the idea of what that whole concept of the album is. I'm not just throwing songs out there trying to get the bag. I'm not just throwing songs out there to try and find a way to get $1 million. Each and every one of the songs that I present to you all has something for you to take back home and work with and think about. It's not about me. A lot of the stuff that I write about is not about me. Do you know the point in prayer? Your prayer does not make our Creator stronger. It does not make Abba stronger. It makes you stronger. Why do Muslims pray 5 times a day? You make prostrations when you wake up. Make prostrations around midday. Make prostrations around the third section of the day, which is this part that we've been walking through. Daily, whenever I come on live, I am spending that third part of the day with you. Then there's a fourth part of the day, what some people would call supper time. And then the last part of the day is bedtime. because now you're preparing for sleep. So you even do a prayer before you get ready to lay your body down. And then you start the process again when you awaken and open your eyes. Why do Muslims pray 5 times a day? So that you are always within your mission and sealed and secured within the blessings and promises of our Creator. Because you're making a pledge to go out and serve our Creator. That's an interdependent relationship. I pray that all of you all have had a great day and it's not over yet. I pray that it keeps going on. And that does not mean, oh, I hope that you were problem free or I pray that you were problem free. No, quite the contrary. I pray that you are able to resolve problems in a righteous manner. And then you remember that the whole situation was lined up and resolved through the will of Yahweh Elohim. The point of you going through a difficulty is because Yahweh Elohim is waiting to tell you, well done, Tabah and faithful servant. You have proven yourself through your works. Much love and respect to all of you. This has been a party. What were you doing when you were 16? What were you doing when you were feeling 16 eternal? And what were you doing in 2016? Because after that, I was all about some 2020 vision. I had it before and I have it afterwards. And I'm not talking about these right here. Mis ojos, no. No miro bueno en mis ojos. I don't see well in my eyes. Not like that. My eyes show me something completely different. I see what everybody else sees. However, my eyes see some other things too. Wouldn't trade it for the world. Was born with it and I love it. Didn't have to get used to it. I see things that most people it takes them 30 years to even know that exists. Someone asked me one time, have you contemplated the veins in a leaf? Show you right. Since I was little. Leaf, my palm. Wow. The stems and then the way that they reach out, it has a veiny texture to it. I could talk you all's ear off. And I think I've pretty much completed that task for the day. I'll allow you to go on with your other ear and save it for tomorrow, right? Much love to everybody. Peace and respect to the family and the community of believers. Yahweh, Ahava, Ahava, Ahava. Assalamu alaikum. Until next time, peace to you, your families, and your circles.